Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live. It's your boy, John. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic. What was that? What was that noise just now? What was that noise just now? I just heard a ring. What's going on, y'all? Hope you guys are all having a fantastic Tuesday. And of course, from wherever you guys are tuning in from across the world, I hope you guys are well. Off the rip, we already have a subscriber, Cooking with Shay. Thank you so much for subscribing. And of course, if you guys are tuning in from anywhere across the interwebs, please consider subscribing to the YouTube. What's with the ring? Where's this noise coming from? Am I the only one that's hearing it? I'm hearing a ring. I'm losing my mind right now. Where's this ring coming from? Anyways, I'm going to have to figure that out a little bit later. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What we saying, chat? Everybody lock in. Curb Grind in the chat says, John, I'm sad. Linda Gober says, I subscribe. Shouts out to Linda for subscribing. Sarah Foster says, I subscribe. Thank you so much. Dom says he subscribed. Appreciate you. Ben Duda says, that's just me. I'm the only one hearing the ring. I swear I'm hearing the ring. It's crazy. Anyways, Rohan Kunda says, 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. Obviously, many Man United fans not happy about yesterday's result. We're going to talk about all of that, so everybody get yourselves locked in. Go grab your drink. Go grab a water. Go grab a soda. Do what you need to do. Yeah? And let's do it. Let's chat. Nick Bradford in the chat says, how do I call in? Sorry, apologies in advance. This is not a calling show. Tomorrow is the calling show. Where is it? Boom. Sorry about that. That's my fault. Yeah, as you can tell, I got 1,000 things going on. But yeah, so tomorrow is going to be the live call-in show. So if you guys are interested in voicing your opinions, voicing your frustrations, voicing your hopes, anything you'd like to talk about, you can come join me tomorrow here at the exact same time. And we'll be having our live call-in show then. Yeah. Let's talk about what everybody's up to today. Where is everybody tuning in from? I got too much of the UK in my head. I literally was about to say, where is everybody tuning in from? All Dex in the chat was going on, my boy. He says, get Maddie in this bit. Yo, yesterday, just a real quick, I guess like a little fill in. Luke on YouTube, thank you for subscribing. Yesterday night, we had a very last minute. I swear, I hear ring. What is this ring coming from? Anyways, my goodness. Anyways, is that the new hype noise? Let me check this out real quick. Let me check this out real quick. Hold up. I just want to make sure I'm not hearing something that y'all not hearing. Hold up. Everybody hold up. Oh, it's a jewel thing. Oh, thank you for sent happy poop for 10 jewels. What the hell is that? Is that the new like YouTube gifting thing? Thank you for sending jewels. I have no idea what that is, but appreciate y'all. That's awesome. Anyways, Ali XLDN says, are we having a good moan about Amorim today? I don't know about moan, but we'll definitely have a conversation for sure. For sure. Phil Johnson's checking in from the Austrian Alps. Whoa, my boy's in Austria. What's going on? You out there doing or are you doing the snowboarding? Thank you for checking in. Sarami checking in 3 a.m. in East Africa. Shouts out to you checking in from East Africa, Maboski. Appreciate you. I am. Ian Kanyuka checking in from Toronto. Shouts out to Ian checking in from the 6. Look, we got to talk a little bit about Manchester United. I think today's show is probably going to be all about Man United. So to my fellow Man United fans, lock in. Before anything else, let's talk a little bit about what happened yesterday, and I'll fill you guys in. Because yesterday we had a very late night live on Instagram, and I was just chatting with the IG family, And it was fun because I think at that point, everybody had sort of already kind of like emptied out their system. Like everybody was like, they've already vented out their frustration and anger. And it was just a kind of a crowd late night. Everybody was just like, ugh, what the hell, man? And then all of a sudden, the chat just pulled up and they just started roasting Maddie. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, the comment section, the chat just started blowing up, talking about Maddie and his height and saying that he was getting rushed by the Arsenal fans. And I was like, do I need to get on Twitter and start backing Maddie? And then I was backing Maddie in my own chat because people were talking about Maddie, his height and everything. And I was like, I don't know what y'all doing. I don't know what y'all doing. And then you guys were asking me about potentially wanting a podcast for me and Maddie to discuss all these things. And we'll definitely find some time to do some content in the near future. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. You also have to give us a little bit of time. Both Maddie and I are extremely busy. Maddie now on a full-time content creator thing. And of course me as a full-time job and whatnot. But yeah, anyways, like I said, let's sort of catch up on what's been happening, and we'll talk about Manchester United. We got Ali checking in from London. We got Mark Silva tuning in from Calgary. Shouts out to the Canadian family out here tonight. Stephen Showers in the chat. Steven Showers. Salute from Manny Kid. Thank you for checking in, Stephen. And let's see. Johnny says, John, I'm sorry, I've been hammering out since the Europa League final, and I haven't been convinced still. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all you should be 100% convinced. You should be 100% hammering out. I'm not going to tell y'all anything about things like that because y'all got to feel how you got to feel. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to feel. But I am going to take this opportunity and kind of help sort of outline what's been going on. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. This comment section is absolutely blowing up here. Nick Bradford checking in from Yuma, Arizona. Shouts out to Nick. Appreciate you as always. We got Queens Pickup in the house. He's a W's in the chat. Shouts out to you. Warren checking in from New York. What's going on, Warren? Jack Universal checking in from Moscow. What's going on, man? Johnny, thank you for the kind words. Let's lock in. Let's talk a little bit about Manchester United. Obviously, I'm gonna be 100% with you guys. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat nothing. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat nothing. Yesterday was shocking. Yesterday was shocking. It was. I kind of actually took a step back and I like sat there a little bit and I was like, was I overreacting? Did I feel like United were in a, like it wasn't as bad as the Grimsby loss? Because for me, I said it was just as bad as the Grimsby loss. That's how I felt. It was just, I was sitting there devastated. I was shocked. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand if we lost, I understand if we lost against a Everton side who had 11 men and then went down to 10 men in the 80th minute or even in the 70th minute. Then I understand. You know what I mean? But Man United went down to, but Everton went down to 10 men in the 13th minute. Not because they, an Evertonian player, committed some atrocity of a foul and injured one of our players and shell-shocked us. Nah. They slapped each other up. You know what I'm saying? A quick little... They sent each other... Let me switch up real quick. I need to lock in. And these are my locked-in glasses, y'all. Because the other one slips a little bit. This one chokes my head just a little tight. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't be having this thing move up and down. You know what I mean? But I'm going to be honest with you. Like, it was shocking to me. And if you guys disagree with me, let me know in the chat. But to me, I was shocked. Because I could not believe what I was seeing. We looked so... It wasn't like we were constantly pushing and punching and pegging and then all of us pegging them back and then, all right, okay, we just need to keep pushing it. We just lacked a little bit of that. Nah, we literally literally did not know how to break that side down. We had nothing. You know what I mean? That's what was scary to me. How are we not having any idea as to how to break them down? And the thing that scared me the most was the frustration that was creeping in. That's what really got to me. Because when you're talking about a Manchester United team, look, over the years, my expectations have come down. You know, let's not sit here and sugarcoat anything. Let's be real. Let's bring it down. You know, I'm not going to sit here and act like Manchester United are in this position where we're going to be challenging for the Prem and the Champions League. You know, my expectations have become very realistic. But to go up against an Everton side, yeah, they might be doing better this season, but to go up against an Everton side and to find it so hard for us to move our possession with that level of ineffectiveness, I don't know, y'all. That was hard to see. And that frustration was just consistently like creeping in, and every single Manchester United player looked like they were getting more and more frustrated. I don't know. I that to me, with the greatest respect, I can't accept that. You know what I mean? I can't accept that. It hurts me, but I can't accept that. There's a difference between getting frustrated, but there's a difference between getting frustrated and letting that frustration completely consume you. And Manchester United yesterday, it wasn't just frustration that consumed. It wasn't just a little bit of frustration. It was total frustration. They had to completely let that red mist descend upon them. You can see a bit of head loss among some of the players. You know what I mean? That's what scared me. That's what scared me. Because that, to me, very much had shades of last season. You know? Siriklan, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate you. Niasha Mambo says, honestly, I'd grown numb from the losses, but this one hurt. Yo, it hurt me too, man. I feel your pain. Tom on FOOTY says, John, in life and football, you can be frustrated with someone and still love them. Absolutely. Level with me. I level with you 100%, my man. I love Manchester United with everything in my heart. I love this team, and I want them to succeed, and I want them to do well 100. You know what I mean? Miles to Go says, we had Mikalenko looking like he was world class. My problem, that too, but it was the fact that we just completely let Everton, with the greatest respect to Everton, we let Everton get into our heads. We let Drewsbury Hall rattle us. We let Jack Grealish rattle us. We let Tarkowski rattle us. Tarkowski got into our heads. That can't happen. I'm sorry, that can't happen. You know what I mean? You guys know me. If y'all been following me for a while, and you guys, and for me, and y'all get upset at me for this too. And I always tell you guys, like, I'm completely understanding of when footballers have a bad day. You know what I'm saying? If they have a sloppy touch, if they have a sloppy pass, I get it. But the entire team looked lost, and the entire team looked frustrated. As an entirety, as a unit, that cannot happen. That was what was a little bit concerning to me. You know what I mean? Ben Duda says, we just simply let them play. Yeah, it was crazy that 10 men looked so much more galvanized, so much more motivated, and so much more focused at Old Trafford than my Man United. That was what saddened me so much. I was filming a match reaction yesterday as soon as I got home, and I was like kind of, after work, I was like kind of gassed. I was kind of goosed. And I sat here and I was like, just sitting here, just looking at the camera, thinking about what I was going to say. And that's all I was doing. I was just staring at the camera. I didn't know what to say. You know what I mean? It was so hurtful to me. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You know? Darwin the Goat says, John, which players will be leaving during AFCON? Well, we know for sure that Brian Mbumo, Ahmad, and Nusa Mazraoui will be leaving for the African Cup of Nations. And if you'd have asked me prior to that Everton game, are you worried? I mean, I'm not worried in the sense that, like, I hope and pray that we'll still get the job done without them, because it's well upon the responsibilities of this team to do the job while they're gone. But you look at somebody like Brian Mbumo, you look at somebody like Ahmad yesterday, both looked very poor. You know? And it really, really goes to Yishan Boas Chow absolutely hitting the nail on the head with what I was trying to say yesterday. The game goes to show the importance of Cunha and Sesko. The team lacked threat, and they just crossed the ball in for no one to step up. We needed more of a threat. We need a little bit more of that threat. And the thing that Cunha brings to this side that people have been criticizing him so much about, and I told y'all stop it. I told y'all stop it. Because y'all wrong. Y'all absolutely wrong on that. Cunha brings so much to this side. That robustness, the intensity on the ball, the threat in that front line. Trust me. Michael says Ahmad was our only threat. I think when Ahmad went back to the right wing back position, he definitely provided much more of an efficiency perspective, and he added much more of a balance to this side. He definitely added more balance to this side. But my problem with Ahmad, and it's not just Ahmad actually. It's not just Ahmad. I want to emphasize that by saying that it's everybody. My issue was that the frustration clearly got to every single one of them. I'm going to keep reiterating this point because that was my biggest beef yesterday. That was my biggest beef. Like every time Ahmad got on the ball, every time he got on the ball and crossed it, yeah, the players maybe weren't there in terms of addressing the header or finding themselves in a bit of a threatening position. Maybe it didn't connect for one reason or another. But as soon as the cross went in, rather than trying to figure out another way, rather than keep playing, I saw Ahmad turn over to look at Amorim as if to say, look, I'm doing my shit. And he was throwing his arms, screaming at his teammates. And I'm okay. Look, even Ruben Amorim said it himself. He wishes maybe his players also were fighting because they needed to, be a little bit more angry at each other. Yeah, I get the fact that you guys are trying to hold each other accountable for sure. But it's a very different, don't get it twisted. It's a very, very different circumstance when you're actually fighting and using the motivation and the heat of the moment to be angry at each other versus when everybody's head is gone, nobody's focusing, and then yelling at each other. Those are two very different things. Very different things. And that's what I saw yesterday. And again, it's not just Ahmad. It was like that from everybody yesterday. They were all kind of giving up on each other. And that was the scariest thing about what I saw yesterday. That was what scared me, and that was what saddened me. Michael says, against 10 men, you think he'd have more intensity and fire. This side looked, from a tactical perspective, I just really wish we had Ruben Amorim kind of push Bruno into a much more of a forward position and bring on a midfielder. Pull out, whether it had been, Dorgu or Dallo, take somebody off. Bring in a midfielder, bring in a Kobe, or bring in a Ugarte, somebody, Rohan says, why wasn't Cheeto an option on the bench? Xerxes was flat-footed. We needed another striker. Who am I? Thank you for subscribing. Look, Cheeto, look, this is another okay, we'll talk about this now. Let's just talk about this now while we're having to address this, right? We also have to understand that this Manchester United fan base, with the greatest respect, and if y'all can disagree with me, I'm completely okay with that. As a fan base, we also have to accept that just because they're new doesn't mean that they're shiny. It just looks more shiny. The grass is always greener on the other side. And when it comes to youth players, they're not quite ready. They're not quite ready. They could be battering it up in the U18s, but the Prem ain't the U18s. It ain't the U18s. Do you know what I mean? And I got so much hope for somebody like Cheeto. I hope and pray that he turns up and he absolutely just absolutely bosses it. I hope so, for sure. Same could be said for Aiden Heaven. Same could be said for Shea Lacey. But it's you do not throw them into the fray to solve a problem. Young problem solvers are rare, like a Wayne Rooney, like a Kylian Mbappe. Those players are rare. We shouldn't have to rely in on youngsters to get the job done. They should be coming in to add a little bit extra salt, a little bit extra of that flavor. They shouldn't be the main dish. Do you know what I'm saying? Just Shane says, if you don't use them, you won't know what potential they have. That's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. You won't know. But that's the point, is that especially in this day and age, especially when the competitive elements of what makes the Premier League such a fierce league, that's when you rely on your Carabao Cups and your FA Cup early rounds to let your young players come on and play. 100%. Those are the games where you let the youngsters play and get their chance. You guys want to talk about chance? Let's talk about chance. Joshua Xerxes, a player that I absolutely think has everything to really succeed and do well. I felt so bad for Joshua Xerxes yesterday. I felt so bad because he finally got his chance. He finally got his chance. Miles to go. I'm going to answer your question in just a second. Xerxes finally got his chance, and he couldn't take that chance. But like Ruben Amorim said, this is what Ruben I'm gonna show you exactly what Ruben Amorim said, just so that you guys understand where I'm coming from here, okay? Ruben Amorim said Xerxes performed well, but I believe the whole team should have done better tonight. That's the problem. Because whether you think Xerxes played well or not, the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, that chance that Xerxes got, it becomes null and void because his entire team stunk. If everybody around him was playing... Justin, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you. If everybody around him was playing well and then it was just Xerxes that was struggling, then I'd understand, right? But for me, what I saw yesterday, Xerxes didn't have fitness. He looked to me like he hadn't played in a very long time. You know what I mean? I would love to see Xerxes given a chance when it's like, you know, when we're in full form and we have an Mbumo and then Acuna on the left with Ahmad as a wingback. Then I'd understand. You know what I mean? Then I'd understand. But yesterday everybody stunk. But that's the cruelty of football. Y'all need to understand that's the cruelty of football, y'all. Because at the end of the day, those are the only chances that you're going to get, especially when we have less games than we've had before. Ben Duda says he's been out in a while, though. Exactly. That's my point. That's my point precisely. He hasn't played in a minute. He's out. He was out early in the season due to injury. But I actually think Rohan Kundu said, Ruben said we need to start the game at 100 miles per hour. I guess the players forgot the one, only brought the 0-0. Oh, man. Joe Mama, thank you for joining us. He says, yo, vamos. Good to see you on TikTok. Thank you for joining us on TikTok, my broski. And, of course, to my IG and my YouTube family as well. And, of course, the Facebook family. Everybody joining us tonight. Thank you all so much. So we just spent the last 30 minutes just complaining about how bad yesterday was. You know, yesterday was, I'm going to be 100%. Yesterday was no good. Yesterday was no good. But we learned a few things. And we could start with this. We could start from this. I think, from me, in my perspective, I think, one, the lack in games is actually hurting us. And the reason why I say that And y'all can tell me if I'm wrong or right. But the reason why I think the lack in games is hurting us is because we are in the midst of an upcoming World Cup. We need to figure out a way to keep the legs, not fresh, but keep the legs pumping with blood. And we need to make sure that these players are in rhythm, you know? And if we don't have extra games, it becomes a problem. Because then you have your Cubby Mainus and your Joshua Xerxes who clearly don't have enough game time. And on top of that, they also are looking for a way out via a loan or whatever it may be, at least for a season away. If we were a really solid team in terms of the structure and the squad depth, we can afford to let the likes of Joshua Xerxes and Cubby Mainu go out on loan for 1 year, right? Or 6 months or whatever it may be. Right? Because then we won't need to have a reliance upon them. But even with them in the squad, we still look like we lacked depth. We look like we still lacked depth, even with them in the squad. Xerxes started the game. Cubby came off the bench. I loved them so much, but even with them, we had no answers. Pedro says, because they ain't been playing. Exactly. That's my point precisely. Not only do we not have enough depth, we clearly don't have enough games. That's my issue. You know what I mean? There was a moment in that second half where Manchester United were just like, I think, let's be real, the entirety of that second half, Manchester United, we were playing in Everton's half. You know, the way Stan Lammers was positioned, my man looked like he was Manuel Neuer with the way he was high up that pitch. Do you know what I mean? The way he was high up that pitch and the way Man United were playing in that Everton half, we should have found something. There was a goal that Eze scored in the North London derby when Arsenal just absolutely smashed up Tottenham, where Tottenham was all tucked back, right? Let's just pretend, for the sake of just conversation, this is Tottenham and this is Arsenal, right? Let's just to kind of explain to you guys, right? Obviously, I don't have the big board with me, so this is the only small board, and it's going to be kind of difficult to kind of show you guys exactly what I'm saying. But roughly translated, there was a moment, I can't remember if it was Declan Rice. I think it was Declan Rice. Tottenham were really making it hard. They were compact, and then after a string of few passes, Eze did something really simple: 1-2. And then he just kind of broke through. Oh no, it might have been Trossard. I can't remember, but it was a wide player, right? Or an attacking player. And it was a bit of 1-2 interchange here and there, whatever. And then all of a sudden, they break through the lines. And what do? They think 3D this way. Boom. The ball goes over the top. And then he chests it down and he slams it. I can't remember the last time my Manchester United did a tight 1-2, almost like a rondo, in front of the 18-yard box, and then pushed, and then boom, dinked it over the top, and then smash. I can't remember the last time Man United came up with something that creative. I can't. I just can't. And with the greatest respect to Everton, Tottenham have a better back line. You might not like it, but Mickey van de Ven, Kuti, they're better players. Jet Spence, Udogie, that's a better back line than Everton, with the greatest respect to Everton. But the fact of the matter is, the fact that Arsenal have the confidence and the swagger to play in tight pockets of spaces and to make that, to the ability to not just make the pass, but the awareness to say, hey, I have the confidence to make this run, and the ball comes over the top. And then, boom. We now have the talent to do so, absolutely. But not only do we not have the consistency, we lacked the focus, and the frustration completely took over. That was my problem. This was the Everton side. This was literally the Everton side. Manchester United were all over them. This was literally Everton just tucked back in. Overall, shape-wise, they basically went. They kind of set up as a 3-4-3. They came to Old Trafford with this mentality like, yo, we can play these lot. We can play these boys. David Moyes in 2025 pulled up with Everton, with Shrewsbury Hall, with Seamus Coleman. Seamus Coleman. Seamus Coleman was still kicking ball when I was in college. How did Everton come to Old Trafford thinking with Seamus Coleman in their starting 11 going, yo, you know what? We're going to beat these lot. We're going to match these lot. They went 3 at the back. They kind of went man for man in some ways. And even before, and when they were in 11, they still looked good. They still looked good. Dave Ty 82 says Everton defense is very 1990s, big lumps. Bravo. Like, it's not even like they had Duncan Ferguson. They just looked like they were here to fight. And we had no fight at all. And then even when we went one man down, they went from a 3-4-3-ish shape to a 4-4-1, right? And then in a defensive, and throughout most of that second half, it wasn't even a 4-4-1 because we were all over them. It kind of looked like this. And this is what it looked, it literally looked like the spaceship from Star Wars. You know what I mean? When it's this dense, right? When it's this dense, you need to be able to do two things, right? Like I said earlier on when we were talking about Arsenal, you need to either have the quality to be able to play in tight pockets of spaces and draw out the opposition press and to be able to play 1-2 quickly and move in, right? And that comes into that we have the quality, but we didn't have the personnel. If we had a Šeško and a Cunha, that would have worked, right? If we had, let's say we had Cunha and Šeško, right? I would have subbed on Mason Mount for Mazraoui, right? Or Dallo or Dorgu, whoever was here, right? And I would have played with Mount and Bruno much forward with Casemiro kind of tucked in behind his center backs like this. And it would have been a back four sort of almost, right? You would have had De Ligt and Lenny Yaro, and then you would have had the rest of them kind of wilding out up front, right? But that wasn't the case. And we're going to talk about the formation and stuff in just a second. Just y'all going to have to let me land a little bit because today's conversation, we're building up a bit, yeah? Like I said, it's either the ability to play in tight spaces and to break through the lines, literally breaking through, or you need to have the quality to move the ball horizontally. You need to have the ability to move the ball quickly this way. You need to have the ability to shift the Everton side, yeah? You need to have the ability to make them look one way and look the other. You need to swing left, right, and then find that dink to be able to break through the lines. We couldn't even do that because the ball looked so slow. It looked so slow. And I felt, and look, I'm not going to lie to you. Bruno had a tough game yesterday. I thought Bruno had a tough day out yesterday. But there were moments in the second half where Bruno was literally forcing these really tight passes. And I can see that Bruno was trying to make something work. There was a moment where Bruno was here with the ball, right? And Xerxes pulled up like this. He had a center back touch tight to him, right? And he had a center back touch tight. He realized that he wasn't going to get any possession this way. So what did Bruno do? What did Xerxes do? He came off the center back and he shoved and he squeezed in right in between this pocket. This was a moment in that second half, okay? Bruno, as soon as he got the ball, as soon as the ball came to feet, he was like, hey, we got to make something different. We can't make it standard. So what did he do? It was this. It was this tight. He threaded that pass right through to Xerxes. He threaded that pass right to Xerxes in between this space, right? I can't remember exactly what the shape was in terms of the players around him, but Xerxes has everything in his locker to be able to take that touch and to be able to first touch pass it, because we know Xerxes' quality is his first touch vision and his first touch passing. His linking play is fantastic, right? Bruno threaded that pass, but Xerxes looked like he wasn't even available. He didn't even expect that pass to come. And what was he doing? He had his heels planted into the ground, and then that pass came to feet, and that ball ricocheted off his foot. And then United lost possession. That was the problem yesterday. Nobody was in focus. We didn't even come out of second gear. First gear. Sorry. He was trying. There was a moment where Bruno and Mace were connecting here. Oh my God, the second, there was a, oh my, let me talk about this and then we'll move on, right? I'm sorry, I'm gonna get into the comments as well. There was a moment in the second half where Bruno and Mace, they were connecting, right? They were like boom, 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 like switching back and forth. And then, thank you for that, Ray. I'm gonna read that comment in just a second, my broski. There was a moment between Mace and Bruno where they were kind of interchanging, like moving the ball quickly. First touch, boom, right? Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot, right? Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot. Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot. The ball came to Luke, right? And I understand second half, the legs are slowly going, right? If we want to play, if we have the quality to play quicker, when that ball comes, so now I'm gonna have to get up. The ball came at this angle. Diogo Dalot's on his left-hand side. The ball's coming at this angle, right? If the ball's coming at this angle and there's space to push forward, what are you supposed to do there? As the ball comes, the first touch has to be proactive. The first touch has to open up for the run. The first touch has to open up for a run. You have to be able to have the courage to open up, first touch, push forward. But what do we do the whole time? Ball comes, we trap it, and then we switch the ball with our foot out. That frustrated me because I'm a left foot, right? I'm watching this happen. The ball comes, he stops it, traps it, digs his foot to the other side of the ball, and touches outwards. And then he looks for Diogo Dalot, who's also just standing there like this, and he shoves it to Diogo Dalot. And then Diogo Dalot, same thing. No flair at all. The ball comes to feet. He needs to if the ball's coming at this angle, right? And he needs to attack this way, right? You don't stand like this and the ball comes. Hold up. Let me just reiterate. I'm not a professional, right? And I'm not here just attacking Diogo and Luke. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just trying to show you that there were so many moments like this where we just looked like we were second best at everything. The ball came to feet and he should have been ready to open up, but instead he takes two touches, tuck, 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 and then he cuts it back to his right. And by then, it's already too late. The Everton player had came up, crashed him. He tried to put in a cross, and then boom, cross gets stopped. Do you know what I mean? We were second best in everything yesterday. And that leads me to my next point. But before I jump into the next point, let me read some of the comments here. Yep. Nick Bradford in the chat said, today I learned that John is a lefty. Yeah, I got left feet. Ray, who's been a member for 14 months. Big up to Ray for being a member for 14 bloody months. Yeah. Rev was same as Grimsby match. Coincidence? Why are we on a dry erase board? Shouldn't you be using your Snapdragon United money for a video board? You know what? Ray, you're absolutely spot on. If me, and I just saw that Jimmy's joined us, right? Jimmy's in this live stream right now. So Jimmy, you're listening, right? If me and Jimmy didn't poop the bed with the studio that we opened and spent so much damn money, I could have just bought a video board right here, you know? But instead, we took the L. But anyways, thank you for being a member for 14 months, man. I appreciate you. This is the problem, though. You know, this Josh Hernandez 8 says John should be playing left wing back. No. Hold up now. No. Warren says 100. No. That is not 100. That is 2. All right, ain't nobody playing left wing back. Ben Duda says, for this formation, we need proper wingbacks. I freaking said it. I said it's so important that we need proper wingbacks. Look at Cucurella today. Look at Cucurella for Chelsea. He absolutely locked up Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal was singing Akon. Then I get locked up. They won't let me out. They won't let me out. And I locked up. They won't let me out. Oh. Cucurella. That's consistent. You know? Tifo Photo says, no one wakes up and says, I want to play left wing back. Facts. I mean, I woke up one day and I said, I want to play left back, so. My point that I'm trying to make, right? And this kind of leads me to the next point, right? Manchester United are still in a transition season, right? Manchester United Football Club are still in a transition season. We started off really rocky, right? But we made things work. We took progressive steps forward. And the reason why I wholeheartedly believe that we were making progress is because I believe that the steps that we took, we can see it. We can visually see the steps that we're taking forward. Yeah. But what did I tell y'all? If we play well, that's because our players are doing well. But this side still needs work. We still lack depth. We still have players like Manuel Ugarte, who clearly Ruben Amorim does not rate. He literally said, Ruben Amorim literally said Ugarte is struggling. He said it with his own mouth, which means that he clearly doesn't like what he's seeing from Ugarte. Yeah. Ugarte was supposed to be the destroyer DM. At this point, he should already be playing. He should be playing. Matthijs de Ligt is the player that has the most minutes. He's played every single minute in the Premier League. Manuel Ugarte should be the one playing every single minute in the Premier League. That's what we signed him for. And yet, he's struggling to get in this squad. He is struggling. We have a left wing back in Patrick Dorgu and Diogo Dalot. I got so much time for Diogo and Dorgu, especially for somebody like Patrick Dorgu, who I think there's a talented player there, right? But how many times have I told y'all, Patrick Dorgu is still very, very young and he still lacks the experience because those elements that you can see that he needs work. The quality is still lacking in certain areas, especially when you look at his consistency with respect to his passing, right? TikTok user says, what about Esteval's experience? But that's my point, is that we still lack a little bit of that quality plus the experience. Do you know what I mean? We are lacking depth. We are lacking quality. That's a fact. I love this team so much, but it's Ugarte. All we need to do is just talk about Ugarte. Is that Johnny says Ugarte isn't an option right now? Bro has too many times he messed up. Whatever it is, if it's messed up or his tackles or whatever it is, the fact is he's not getting game time. The fact is he's not getting game time. Do you know what I mean? So when you're struggling, when your legs are going, when you need a DM to play, because Casemiro has had a phenomenal resurgence, but he's not a god. He needs help too. Same could be said for Bruno. When you need options, you know, it doesn't work because we don't have the options to rely on. That's the part that scares me a little bit. You know what I mean? Catches Live says Cunha was missed so bad, and the fact that we were spamming balls into the box when Šeško wasn't there. We already talked about this part exactly, Cat. Just so that you sort of catching up. Cunha provides so much from that robustness element going in that front line. We had nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? But I want to talk a little bit about how I felt overall, because when you look at this side, right, and we lack the quality. Justin 10 says we have a small squad. That's my point precisely. Ruben Amorim is working with a side that still is far from complete. We still have a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? We still have a lot of work to do. We don't have the depth and we don't have the team. We need to find the balance. We still need a DM. I said it today. I think we need 2 midfielders. I think right now what we need is we need an Elliot Anderson type. We need... People have been saying we need like just Elliot Anderson would be cool. Nah, we need an Elliot Anderson. And for me, what I think we need... And I might be a little bit greedy here, but I would love to have somebody like a João Neves. You know what I mean? Somebody like a Vitinha. We need robustness. We're lacking options in robustness. I'm not sure about Miles to go says Baleba and Anderson. I'm not too sure about Baleba right now because Baleba's having a really tough time. If the price drops dramatically, then I still wouldn't mind going for him. But what I'm seeing right now, I don't know if I'd be okay with spending 80 M's on a player that's having a really, really up and down season, especially the down part of the season that he's dealing with right now. Expensive Milk says we need a ball-winning midfielder and a box-to-box and an anchor. I don't know if we can spend that much money on all this player, but I 100% think we need at least 2. Zaire Emery's a dope shout, Josh. I like that. Phil Johnson says, Bruno and Casemiro started nearly every game and we're mid-table. Cubby and Ugarte at least need to get a chance. 100%. I think they do. And I think it's a contingent upon Ruben Amorim to find a way for them to win games with at least Cubby Mainu. Yeah? If he doesn't rate... I think Manuel Ugarte, I think his position is a little bit more scarier from the perspective of selecting him because if he's rash on his tackles, if he doesn't look calm and controlled, as a DM, as an anchor, that's very dangerous. I think in that case, then he becomes more of a risk of a pick than a Cubby Mainu, right? But either way, I think both of them definitely deserve minutes somehow. But this is my point, is that Ruben Amorim needs depth and he needs options, and he can't rely on the players that we have right now. Miles to Go says, to me, this was a game where we could have had Cubby start and Bruno in the 10. Whatever it is, we could have had... I actually said we needed Mason Mount to start. I think it should have been Mace, Xerxes, and Mbumo. Or, for me, it literally could have been Mace... excuse me. It literally could have been Mace... Mbumo up top, and then having somebody like a Brune or even a Cubby. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. But again, hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. We need options and we need depth, and I feel for Ruben Amorim so much in that respect. You know what I mean? Apologies, I meant to bring up the gains. I probably sound a little bit clearer now. This is what I want to talk to you guys a little bit about. Ruben Amorim spoke about his system, and he said, we can't say it's a 4-4-2, but 5 minutes later, we can say it's a 4-4-2, but 5 minutes later, it's a 4-3-3 or a 3-4-3. I'm open to everything. People think I'm fixated on one idea, but I simply start from a base. He's talked about this many times, Ruben Amorim, where he talks about how he's basically in a kind way telling us that we're all chatting shite, because at the end of the day, his formation is very fluid. It's not a 3-4-2-1. It's not a 3-4-3. It's very fluid. Ruben Amorim says this, and I'm going to be honest with you. Y'all might and here again, if you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments, right? But I genuinely believe and I agree with Ruben Amorim. If you watch the way that we play, if you deep it, if you sort of get an eagle eye view, an overhead shot of how we actually line up and where the players are playing, right? I think we are fluid. I think we definitely are fluid. Yeah. And I feel so bad for him because a lot of people just roast him for saying, hey, why does he have 5 defenders on the pitch? That's the issue, right? That's the issue. The dilemma with Ruben Amorim and the dilemma that he's having to face is that Ruben Amorim has to be able to get his team to believe in his methods and his tactics. But he also has to be able to let the fans see that his team is not actually what they see on paper. They have to believe in the performances and the way that we play on the pitch. But it's hard to do that because what Ruben Amorim is doing there is he's fighting on 2 fronts. And history serves and history proves that it's extremely hard to fight a war on 2 separate fronts. And I'm not saying Ruben Amorim is waging a war against the fans. Absolutely not. But from an analogy perspective, what I'm trying to say is that whether or not Ruben Amorim believes in his tactics or whether or not I believe in his tactics, yeah, I think he needs to be able to figure out a way to convince his players, convince his fans, right? And almost kind of, I don't want to say play into their hands, but not play into their hands, play into what they want, you know? But it would have been nice, in my head, it would have been nice if we brought on an attacking player or more of an attacking player, attacking-minded player than, for example, a Dallo, you know? Todd says he deserves the time. He came into a bad situation. Absolutely. He absolutely does. Yeah. He has somebody like a Dallo to provide the width and to have a bit more of that defensive solidarity. But in that game, whether or not that's his system is showing flu, Diogo Dallo in his LinkedIn job description can have left wing back, right? But on that pitch, he was pretty much a left winger, right? But the problem here is that for Ruben Amorim, it doesn't matter if he's playing as a left winger. Because from the fans' perspective, wherever Diogo Dallo is playing, the fact that he's not producing means that at the end of the day, he's a left wing back. Do you understand what I mean by that? Do you kind of understand what I mean by that? And then at that point, it only means that he's digging himself a deeper hole. Because the fact is, as a left winger, Diogo Dallo wasn't working. Now, do you guys get where I'm trying to go with that? I completely understand that Ruben Amorim is trying to figure out a way to get his players to play through a system. You know what I mean? And I back that. I 100% back that. But it's hard to do that when he doesn't have a squad and he doesn't have the depth and he doesn't have the quality, right? We talked about Diogo Dallo 3 times already. I got so much time for somebody like Diogo Dallo, who is an absolute professional. I got so much time for Diogo Dallo, the human being. But as a footballer, he hasn't really shown that much consistency that I like. And if you're relying on a left wing back on paper who plays as a left winger on the pitch, and he can't do the job as, you know, and he can't do that job, then it becomes an issue. And it's hard. Expensive Milk says he's a right back. Exactly. For the fans, it's hard to get. It's for the and look again. I back Ruben Amorim, and I'm still backing him. Y'all can disagree with me. That's fine. I got so much time for Ruben Amorim. I do. Yeah. But it's hard for me. It's hard for me to sit here and tell y'all, no, you guys are wrong. because it's hard to justify seeing a Diogo Dalot, who's a right back, play as a left wing back on paper, but a left winger on the pitch and clearly not do enough. Expensive Milk says it's the middle that's holding us back. We talked about the midfield too, right? We talked about the midfield too. But if you look on that pitch, it's not really a midfield two. It's a hybrid midfield three where one of the attacking tens tucks in, right? But you will never ever hear fans talking about that. You will never ever hear fans talking about that fluidity because it doesn't seem fluid. It doesn't seem fluid. Did you see that moment where, I can't remember if it was Barry or if it was James Garner. I can't remember who it was. But there was a moment where they won the ball in the middle of the park and they literally waltzed through. It was like Moses split the Red Sea and they just waltzed through. And Bruno is chasing and chasing, but he's already chasing. And they just they run the entire midfield uncontested. If we play that bold, right, with two midfielders, here's a big difference. Not a midfield two, but two midfielders. Very big difference there, right? It's going to look like a midfield two. That's my point that I want to make. And that's why I can't tell y'all that y'all are wrong. We need more of that. We need more of that balance on the sheet. I don't know if I made myself clear in that respect. You know? Like it would have even been cool if I saw, for example, like Mace and Mbumo on the wide tens and then Bruno as a false nine. So it kind of looks like maybe I don't want to use the board. Maybe I can use hold up. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. Hold up, y'all. Hold up. Do I not have Xerxes on this thing? Oh shoot. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. Let me just set this up for y'all, because if I use the board, you guys are gonna be like, oh, I don't know who you're talking about, John. Blah blah blah. So it's better visuals. You know what I mean? Hold up. And where is it? Hold up. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Everybody calm down. There we are. Boom. There we are. Boom. Copy. How do I copy this thing? Copy SVG. That's not it. No, that's not it. Man, whatever. Let me just do it manually. Boom. Okay, so boom. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all what I'm looking at here. Okay, here we are. Look, like I honestly, can y'all see that? Okay, cool. I'm gonna make this a little bit wider for y'all so you can kind of see a little bit more clearly. Voila. Yeah, we didn't have Cunha yesterday, which meant that we started with Ahmad as a left-sided 10. Yeah, we had Dorgu, Mazraoui, Lenny Yoro, Delict, and Lucas Alberto Carlos. Right. If going down to 10, like for example, right? If we went to 10 men, right? I mean, if Everton went to 10 men, right? And they literally, and even up until the second half, we didn't have options. What I would have done, if this is just me, right? I would have taken off Xerxes. I would have played, I would have, and we had, by then we already had Mason Mount. Sorry, Mace. Where's Mace? We had Mason Mount already, right? I would have played Bruno as a false 9, playing as high up as possible. Yeah. And I would have brought on Cubby. Yeah. I would have kept Dorgu on that pitch, but I would have played it like this, right? And actually what you saw yesterday, right? We were playing almost kind of like this. This is literally how we were playing yesterday. Well, at you know, it was Xerxes over here and it was Bruno here. But my point is that I would have absolutely loved to see this, right? Somebody that has the niftiness to be able to play higher up. Do you know what I mean? It's like Scott McTominay. I told you guys that I never ever thought that Scott McTominay was going to succeed at Man United as a 6. He's not a 6. He can maybe play a combative 8, but he was never going to be a 6. What do we see from Scott McTominay that was so good? Scott McTominay was so good at making late runs, crashing into the box as a high attacking 10 almost, right? We can't have Bruno Fernandes running all the way down here, making sliding tackles, and then expect him to play all the way up top. You know what I mean? We can't. It's not going to work. That's just my thoughts. It's just my thoughts. You know what I mean? Catches lips is no lie. A Neves would be an amazing add to the squad. Imagine we brought João Neves into the squad. Now, I'm not even talking about Ruben Neves. I'm talking João Neves. I don't know if you're talking about Ruben, but I'm talking about João. Yeah. This is my point. You know, Yeshen Boss Chow says, oh, wait, no, was he Yeshen? Oh, sorry. Phil Johnson said, I didn't understand why he kept 3 center backs on yesterday. This is my point. Is that even if he had 3 center backs, and out of the 3, literally only one was the one playing tucks back. They were interchanging, by the way. They were very much interchanging. There was a moment where De Ligt was up here and he fed Xerxes with the best chance where he dinked it over he hit a nice little cross, right? From this area and he poop. And then he hit Xerxes with a nice cross too. You know what I mean? Steve, thank you for the kind words, my man. Appreciate you. But this is my point with Ruben Amorim, though, is that he's having to face a dilemma where he's having to answer to a lot of different people and a lot of different sides of the battle. Expensive Mills' Shaw should have just went wide. Luke Shaw has a really good cross on him. But remember, Luke Shaw isn't the same anymore. He's older. He's less legs, less of that, less of that burst. He doesn't have the capacity to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Why do you... For somebody that has a very bad injury record, why do you think Luke Shaw has been much better in terms of staying fit? Why do you think so? Because he's not doing the lung busting up and down, up and down. That's good man management. He's playing in a much more, a bit more of a central role where he's not having to go up and down, and risk injury. JW Hyun 90 in the chat says, what pisses me off is that Arne Slot doesn't get half the criticism that Amorim gets. We above them in the damn table. Facts. DB Cooper says Shaw has 0 chance of doing all that running, not happening. Yeah. He don't have that anymore. It's not in his tank. He don't got that in his locker no more. But this is what I want to end it on, right? This is what I want to end it on. And I really want you guys to kind of sort of, get involved in the comments and let me know what you guys think. For me, my biggest concern with all of what's going on right now, and hold on. Don't get me wrong. We have to improve. I want to emphasize that. If some people trickle into the live stream late and they're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Please let them know that I've discussed the bad parts, right? Don't get me wrong. We have to improve. However, why is it that when we play, right? When we go on a 5-6 game undefeated run, right? And then when we lose, all of a sudden, it's 3 games without a win. Why is it that when we put on good strings of performances, it isn't about how good we're playing, and all of a sudden, Ruben Amorim, who won the Premier League Manager of the Month, by the way, because he's been doing well. Let's be real. If we're playing well, he deserves credit. But why is it that it's always us? Why is it it's always him and always us that we're in a position where all of a sudden it's here or it's here? My man was talking about Liverpool, right? Yeah, Liverpool are doing poorly, but Liverpool don't. Arne Slot, we were talking about, don't get half the crap that Ruben Amorim has to deal with. He doesn't. That's why I feel for Ruben Amorim, and that's why I'm here to back what we're seeing, because I've seen progress this season at least. Thank you for the love, Steve. Appreciate you for that. In Ruben, we trust. It's unfair that Ruben Amorim has to fight with the team. He has to figure out an answer for the team. He needs to figure out an answer for the fans, and he needs to figure out an answer for the media. And as much as I 100% agree, we have to be better. The reason why I don't sit here and I don't feel like just crapping on Ruben Amorim or the team is because I think it's unfair. I don't want to add to that, you know? Catch his lips says we will get better. I love that. I love that. Phil Johnson says preseason promised me more. Maybe it's that why I'm not happy with the performances. And you have every right to not be happy because look at it. We lost against 10-man Everton. We played against them for 70-something minutes with 1 man down, and we still lost. So you have every right to feel upset. I'm not a fan that's going to sit here and just be completely delusional and completely like toxic positivity. You guys will never, ever see that from me. You know what I mean? Steve Texas, how often are you live, John? I'm live every Tuesday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, this time slot. Deleted for good. What's going on, my man? He says, thank you for the money for Ugarte and João Neves. Well, congratulations. We still have a lot of work to do. We do. And I'm going to give him time as a fan. Y'all can disagree with me. I'm okay with that. The dilemma that Ruben Amorim has to face is that he has to answer to so many different sides of the cube, and I feel so bad. And that's why I'm going to back him, because I think he deserves the time. Yesterday, like DB Cooper says, was unacceptable. He says, I don't care who gets the blame. I don't care either. Because everybody at Old Trafford deserves responsibility in that regard. It's not just the manager. It's not just the players. I think this team needs help. I think Ruben Amorim needs help. Yeah. We need to improve. We do. And we will. I'm going to end on this. I said this before in one of my short videos. We need to bring in a midfielder in the January market. We need to bring in a midfielder in the January market. I don't care who. I don't care. Well, let me see. Hold on. Hold up. Apparently, we're linked. What's my man's name? Hold up. Yes, miles to go. Exactly. What's my man? Was Joao Gomez? Was that his name? I can't remember. Somebody let me know if that was his name. Joao Gomez. There we go. That's the one. Thank you, Ayad Danoir. Thank you, Joao Gomez. Yeah, Brazilian. Exactly. Manchester United, right? We need to sign a midfielder in January. I don't care how we do it. Thank you for following Killer1001. Appreciate you. I don't care how we do it. We need to sign a midfielder in January. I'm not talking about a young midfielder with potential. I'm talking about a real midfielder. Yeah. I'm talking about a seasoned midfielder, somebody that can come on and play. Just play. Get in. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's Joao Gomez. I don't care if it's Angelo Stiller. I don't care if it's Adam Wharton, Baleba, Believer, Elliot Anderson, Mr. Anderson from Matrix. I don't care if Manchester United signed Matty Farias to play in midfield. Give me a Brazilian midfielder that can play right now. Not somebody that's a fringe player and we don't know if he's going to game time. We need somebody that's going to play. And he needs to be in the January transfer window. We need to bring him now. ASAP. Bring him to play in midfield. Granit Xhaka? I'd rather take Matty in midfield than Granit Xhaka. I'm sorry. Yeah? Anthony says Gomez is like a Casemiro. I don't care if Gomez is like the Anderson that we had from back then. I don't care if he's like Fred. Give me a midfielder that can play, that got legs, that can run. He's got a little bit of that sauce. He's got a little bit of that jogo bonito. You know what I'm saying? We need to bring in a midfielder in January without a doubt. And I think that's going to really make us be able to push and to find that consistency. This side needs help. If that's the case, if Ruben Amorim is going to send Kobbie Mainoo out on loan, we're going to need another midfielder. And if he doesn't go out on loan, then send Ugarte out on loan and bring me a midfielder. Because he clearly doesn't fancy Ugarte to play. Then let him go out on loan and give me a midfielder. Bring me a midfielder. If it is 65 M's that we only can spend, then just bring me Joao Gomez. Bring me him from loan. Big Scottish guy from Napoli would be great. No. He cannot play the role right now. No. I told y'all this before. Scott McTominay, if he was going to play for this Man United side, the only position he can play is the number 10 role because that's the kind of player that he is. Crashes late into the box, 4-4-2. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to drop Bruno for Scott, right? So he's obviously not going to play with us. Sahil says Justin Bieber midfield. Out. Okay, you know what? Sahil, I haven't done this in a while. I cannot believe what I just... We're bringing it back. We're bringing back the Infinity Castle. Down into the Infinity Castle you go, Sahil. Down. You're going boom, right down. Right down. Don't come back up, Sahil. Justin Bieber in midfield. I told you I would rather have Maddie in midfield. I would rather have Adam McCullough running down the wing than Justin Bieber in midfield. And I got nothing against Justin. I love his music. I got my peaches down in Georgia. Oh, that's okay, cool. Button down. We won't be able to sell Ugarte, but we definitely should send him out on loan and bring in a midfielder if we're gonna be able to. If we're not gonna use him anyway, you know what I mean? Give me him. Give me Joao Gomez. Give me Angelo Stiller. Give me Vitinha. Give me Joao Neves. Give me somebody. Give me a midfielder that can play right now. Somebody that got legs. And don't say it's impossible to make that transfer happen in the January transfer window. We've made signings in the January transfer window that have worked. Patrice Evra, Uncle Patrice. We brought Nemanja Vidic. January transfer windows can happen. Sahil says, not gonna lie, Selena Gomez is better than Joao Gomez. Okay. Back down. Infinity Castle, don't come back up. Don't come back up. Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber in our midfield. Oh, sorry, wrong one. I literally absolutely wrong one. Expensive Milks is Sander Berg. I'll take Sander Berg. Give me Sander Berg. Catchers Lives says Joao is the best bet, and also he has been shouting it that he would run to us. Let him run to us. I'll be standing here open arms. So now I come to you with open arms. Come, play with us. Do you know what I'm saying? Ray says Kim Seok-jin at left wing back. Ray, Infinity Castle. Justin says we need a Wheaton or Anderson from Nottingham. I don't know about a Wheaton. I'll take a Wharton. Dave Lutz says save money for Elliot Anderson. That's the only midfielder I see that comes in and improves us. No. We need to bring it. Look, here. I'm going to say this, Dave, okay? And Dave, if you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. We need to bring in an Elliot Anderson in the summer. And let me be real with you, I think we will bring in an Elliot Anderson in the summer. Yeah? But we also need to bring in a Joao Gomez in the January transfer window. Just saying. We need two midfielders. Ray, I like that. We need two midfielders. Leonardo Farines says, Wilker Farines? Who's that? Gino SP says, predictions for South Korea in the World Cup. Mad easy. FIFA World Cup 2026 champions, South Korea. Let's get it. We're winning it. We're going to be the first Asian country to win the World Cup. I have spoken it into existence. You guys, you're going to be like, John, you crazy? Well, no, shut up. We're bringing two midfielders in the summer transfer window. Trust me. One. We're bringing one in the January and one in the summer. And Justin, I'm with you. I still believe in Cubby Mainu, 100%. I 100% believe in Cubby Mainu. But we need depth. And depth only comes when there's quality and competition. Sahil says, Sonny missing pens on U.S. soil. Sahil, Infinity Castle. Sahil, Infinity Castle. Sahil, I got a message for you from Rio.
You're rubbish, shut up, no bed. You're rubbish, shut up, no bed. You're rubbish, shut up, no bed. You're rubbish, shut up, no bed.
Sonny missing a pen?
You're rubbish, shut up, no bed.
Infinity Castle. Don't come back up. Nick Bradford says, Lols, you can't win since Holland is walking out with the cup. Hey, we'll see. Netherlands and South Korea in the final. Boom. We've spoken into existence. Jamal says, they're already letting Gehi go in January. You think they'll let both their fullbacks leave? Gino says, Kim Min-jae's next club. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know, man. We've been chatting away and it's already 7:35. Damn. Time has flown. My throat is shot. I don't know what I've been yapping about for an hour and 30 minutes, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. We're going to be back tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be more of you guys talking and me listening. Yeah. Expensive Milk says Gallagher is not a bad shout. At this point, I'll take Gallagher on loan. Only if Ruben Amorim says we're going to play him. You know what I mean? Race is what K-pop team for the attack, though? I don't know anything. I don't even know why I was thinking. I don't even know the answer for that one. Miles to Go says, let's give Palace tons of cash and get Munoz and Wharton. Sahil says, shout out to Maddie for such a fun time. Why are you guys shouting out Maddie in this chat? Yo, I know you guys love Maddie, and don't get me wrong, I love Maddie too, but why are we every stream y'all here talking about Maddie? Either y'all making fun of his height or y'all showing him mad love. Go show him love in his own chat. Kone is a good shout too, but he's not ready just yet, you know. Shea Lacey, same could be said for him too. Gino says, sorry, John. Come on, you Spurs. Oh, my God. We got Spurs fans in the chat. We got Liverpool fans in the chat. Miles to Go says, we need to shout out Jay Motti a bit more in here. Facts. Shout out Jay. That's my guy. Dr. Mixel in the chat. He says, hey, Johnny, go Bayern. Tomorrow, I'm Team Bayern. Bayern better batter up Arsenal. You know what I think? I think Arsenal gonna. I think Bayern's gonna beat Arsenal tomorrow. Dr. Mixalot says, yeah, I'll be live during the match. Hey, if you guys want to see a Bayern stream, go check out Dr. Mixalot. GNOSP says, wish Lee Gang-in was more robust. Would love to see him in the Prem. If Lee Gang-in just builds up a little bit more of that agility, a little bit more of that explosiveness, he's going to play in the Prem. He's so close. He's almost there. He's still young. He just needs to build up a little bit more. And he's going to be in the Prem. Expensive Milk says, maybe we need to play like Stoke. Catches Liv says, I mean, no Gabriel for them, so boom, Arsenal getting fists up. What's fists up? What does that mean? Does that mean that they're getting mashed up? Nightwing says, John, did you get any cool Snapdragon gear with your collab with them at United? I actually did. I got a laptop and I got a phone. Sahil says, Lee ain't got that body for the Prem and ain't jacked like my dog Maddie. The Maddie glazing is unreal right now. And I'm for it. I'm all for it. Y'all can glaze Maddie all you want in this chat. I don't know if y'all in here to glaze Maddie because you want Maddie to see this because he watches the stream sometimes. but you guys can glaze him in your own chat. Just like me, because I'm going to be in there with y'all. Nick Bradford says, hot takes, please. MLS last four. NYCFC versus Messi. Vancouver versus San Diego. As much as I got so much love for Thomas Müller, I think it'll be San Diego versus NYCFC. I said it. Manny says Maddie with some sus-ass emojis. Nick Bradford says San Diego FC play at Snapdragon. It'd be cool. Yo, I love that stadium. I love that stadium. Sahil says John's got shins of metal, man. Mad love. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Cat just lives says New York, New York. Big up New York. Come on now. New York versus San Diego. I don't know who I'd root for there. Manny sending me love too, but them emojis a little. I don't know about the emojis, my friend. This is how you know I've been streaming for a long time, because now the comment section we've talked all we needed to talk about, and now we're just talking about some random stuff. Now we're reading weird emojis and we're just having fun. This is the perfect time for me to go. I need to exercise. I need to eat. I need to do some chores. I need to film the video for tomorrow. It's long, man. It's long. You know? But all in all, I just want to say United. I think I just pulled my back doing that. Sheep back. Sahil, you wildin' now. You wildin' now. You wildin' now. But Miles to Go says we'll bounce back, and that's what I'm talking about. I love that energy. I love that. But that's it for me today, y'all. I think it's a good place to end it. Catch and Live says much love all the way from South Africa. It's 2:42 a.m. Damn, broski, go get some sleep, dog. Holy shoot. Sahil, appreciate you for checking in, and appreciate every single one of y'all for checking in. Appreciate so much of y'all. Justin says this was a fantastic show. Keep it up. Thank you guys. Honestly, y'all make this show worth doing, and honestly, y'all make this show fun. It's you guys getting involved in the chat and really sort of having a respectful discussion that makes me want to do it, and we're having a good time. You know what I'm saying? I love that. I love that. I love that we can be responsible and respectful here. You know, we can all have just differences in opinion, but that's cool. You know. And here, especially to my Man United fans, never say die. We're here. Unite. Yeah. Have a good one, Snapdragon. All right, it's a good place for me to leave it, guys. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support as always. And thank you for, of course, thank you so much as always for checking in and checking out the content. Oh, I can't even tell you how grateful I am. It's been an absolutely incredible run of the past few years, and it's insane. And all of this couldn't have been possible without y'all. Yeah. So just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for checking it out here. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you guys are brand new, and hit that notification bell like our numero uno moderator, Vish, has been absolutely working hard in the chat. Yeah. Hit that notification bell so you guys are always staying up to date on whenever we go live and or drop content. And speaking of live, like Nick Bradford was asking in the chat, we are going live tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to get involved in the call-in show, speak your mind, get involved in the chat, come join us tomorrow Eastern Time, 6 o'clock p.m. We're going to have a good time. Yeah. Respectful, fun, vibes. And of course, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts and really understand where our immaculate collective sitting at with respect to the vibes. But it's a good place for us to end it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of y'all for real. I'm going to be out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get some sleep for some of y'all. And that's it. Yeah. Be happy, be healthy, take care of all your loved ones. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Peace.